51 years ago, 3 men embarked on a mission that forever changed the world. Apollo 11 left behind many significant impacts that still affect us to this day. I have read many books about Apollo 11, and I have also seen documentaries. This information is relevant because Apollo 11 paved the way for further exploration that has opened the door to the possibility of humans someday living on another planet. Today I will be informing you about the impacts Apollo 11 has had on technology, politics, and the world. Let's start by discussing the technological impacts. Apollo 11 has led to developments in technology. One of these developments actually involves the spacesuits the astronauts wore. The suits were designed to be insulated so that the astronauts would stay warm in space. They've used the same technology to create heat-resistant suits that firefighters wear to keep them cool, and people who work with hazardous materials also wear similar suits. In the July 2001 issue of Internet Week, Tim Wilson talks about how Apollo 11 has opened the door to innovations in site design as well as progress in the field of information technology, or IT. This is important because we use technology almost every day, and IT ensures that our devices are working properly. Now I will be talking about how Apollo 11 affected politics. Apollo 11 affected politics between the United States and Soviet Union. Apollo 11 happened during the height of the Cold War. This was a time when there was a lot of tension between the United States and the Soviet Union, and part of the Cold War consisted of a space race between the two countries. Russia was ahead for the majority of the race. Margot Lee Shetterly wrote in her book Hidden Figures, Young Readers Edition, in 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space. Russia also released the first satellite before the US, and they were the first country to perform a spacewalk. Apollo 11 meant that the US had officially won the race. This eliminated tension between the two countries, and it was within a year of the moon landing that the Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed. This meant that countries that had nuclear capabilities would not share weapons with countries that did not have the same powers. It was within 2 decades of Apollo 11 that the Cold War officially came to an end. We will finally discuss how this historic event unified the world. Apollo 11 brought the entire world together. At the time of the moon landing, there was a lot of conflict in the world. Some examples include the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, the Six-Day War in Egypt, and the assassination of figures such as John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. Because of all this division, it was hard for every country to find common ground with each other. Apollo 11 brought unity to the world. In the July 1969 issue of the Rapid City Journal, Howard Benedict said, "For the first time, man plans to walk upon soil that is not of his earth. The world will share it via live television." This quote does a perfect job of summing up my point. It no longer mattered what political party you associated with, what you look like, or where you were from. For one night, people from all across the world managed to put their differences aside and appreciate the history that was taking place in front of their eyes. Now you see how the world finally united. I have discussed the impacts Apollo 11 left on technology, politics, and the world. Hopefully, the next time you look up into the night sky, you will be able to see inspiration in the moon. As Neil Armstrong said, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." However, maybe that step wasn't so small after all. Maybe it symbolized so much more.